Are you tired of conversations being guided by the loudest voices in the room? Are you tired of people being nice because they're afraid of the consequences if they're actually honest? Are you tired of people that are so afraid of saying what is actually going on that they completely neglect the truth? Well, if that's the case, and you want to hear something that makes you go, you know, that's exactly what I was thinking, but I'm afraid to say it, come check out I Had to Say It, the podcast. Available wherever you get your podcast fix or at IHadToSayItPodcast.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bold Talk by Joe, the coolest spot for unfiltered culture combo. I'm Joe, your vibe curator, diving to fearless chats, break norms, and ride the wave of boldness with us. Get ready for a podcast that's as fresh as it is real. Stay bold, stay tuned. Peace.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Mike.
I'm Tabby.
And we're the Grace Taproom Podcast.
We are a comedy podcast that discusses pop culture. We talk movies, TV shows, music, sci-fi, horror, just to name a few things.
Be sure to visit our link tree at linktr.ee/Grace Taproom Podcast 2. There you can find all of our listening platforms, our socials, and our merch store.
And if you can't get enough of our regular show, then go subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/Grace Taproom Pod. There you can choose one of our 4 monthly tiers, $1, $3, $5, and $10.
We hope you enjoy this episode. Yep, the one you're listening to right now.
Remember, don't text and drive, don't drink and drive, and always drink responsibly.
You heard her. Do it.
Taproom closed.
Soren Kierkegaard said, "There are 2 ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to believe what is true." George Orwell told us that in a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, while Aldous Huxley reminded us that facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. Lastly, Joe Class said, "The truth will set you free. But first, it will piss you off." This is the news show, Whiskey Hell. Think critically. Act accordingly.
Saturday, January 27th, 8:06 p.m. in the evening. This is your countdown to the Civil War with Whiskey Hell. How's it going, Fitz?
It's going great. Glad you opened the show with that, because it seems to be what everybody's talking about.
Well, it's like everybody's talking about it, and they also want it. I mean, that's kind of the direction that I'm getting. Well,
don't you? Come on, dude. We all get to wear cool uniforms. We all get to wear your cool uniforms.
Okay. The meme trend of what are you going to wear when what's going to be your Civil War kit, right? What are you wearing for the Civil War? That meme that's out there is fantastic. So I think we need to come up with something by the end of the show, or maybe we hit up the AI generator and we try to come up with some art for it.
Well, I mean, yes, for sure. I mean, I'm Team Whiskey Hell the whole way. You know what? And listen, for all of you who want to know, Team Whiskey Hell, we are neutral in this thing. We're not picking a side.
Completely neutral.
We're gonna let the riffraff, all the fodder, just cancel itself out, and then whatever's left gets to be part of Whiskey Hell Nation. That's what we're doing.
We're just monitoring things from afar. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, we're going to get into that. We don't have to get into it a ton now. We will get into what's been going on in Texas and how it's kind of ramping up, sort of. So we'll get into. We're definitely going to get into that. We have got some election news that took place this week because of the New Hampshire vote or primary that took place. Absolute farce. Just most ridiculous thing that
just a joke.
Lot of stuff. A lot of weird stuff. We got some. Russia declares the Alaskan Purchase voided. Uh, we've
I
got
did not have that on my bingo card.
no,
Damn it.
no,
Nope.
no. It's interesting. It really is. In chat we have tonight, we've got Ashley, or I'm sorry, Buttercup, excuse me, Big Daddy A, Aaron,
Big Daddy.
Tabby, and Mike from Gray's Taproom Podcast. And if you guys haven't gone, Big Daddy A, it's on I Had to Say It Pod. That's his show. You guys need to make sure you're checking out his show and the Gray's Taproom Podcast. These guys are fantastic, way fun, and they actually have a drinking game in chat. Did you see this?
I see. I'm reading it right now.
Read the rules. The rules are fantastic.
You guys, number 5. You don't know what you're signing up for because I'm very horny tonight.
Somebody is getting fucked.
The juices got flowing. Yeah, so it should be a good night. We're gonna have a chat room that's just gonna go silent because everyone's gonna pass out.
All right, so for those playing at home, the rules are going to be number 1. So you take a drink anytime these 6 things happen. Jefe sighs, that very deep, insightful that he does, that usually
Which is
right after you say something that's really out there.
Ridiculous. Yeah. It's one of his trademarks. He's done that ever
is.
since I've known him. So
So you guys will hear it when you hear it. It'll maybe we'll just call out a drink every time that happens.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. Aaron disappears. Shot if he falls asleep. Okay, that's tough. Beard references any weapons in chat.
Again, you guys are already going to get fucked up.
Anyone mentions pronouns in chat or recording. Number 5, Fitz gets sexual. Number 6, McShane sighs before or during a story. Usually that's going to happen a lot.
Usually it's before, during, and after.
Yeah.
That's what she said. Yikes. Damn it, I just got sexual.
Yep, there you go.
Everybody drink. Oh, shit.
All right. Oh, so what are you drinking? Speaking of drinks.
All right. Well, mystery beer. Once again, for those of you who are unfamiliar, I get to know the brewery, but my wife, she gets very creative on how she covers up the can. This week, there's some pieces of paper that she has taped over the can and just wrote on the outside what the brewery is. So this week, the brewery is Monkless. Monkless is a fantastic brewery out of Bend, Oregon, one of the 28. And that, by the way, that's written into city code that there can only be 28 breweries in Bend because of the fresh water that's available from the river. They only allow 28 breweries to take water from that river. So when a brewery doesn't make it and they shut down, there have been death threats and fights over who's going to get the open spot. But
wow,
Monkless has been around for a long time. They're one of the breweries up there, and they do almost exclusively like Belgian style beers, old world kind of abbey beers, farmhouse ales, Belgians, quads, triples, that kind of thing. So
the big stuff.
I know it's yep. I know it's in that family. I have yet to have a bad beer from Monkless. So I don't know if she's gotten me one that I've had before, or if this is going to be something new to me because they've started to get a little creative with what they're doing. But they've won all kinds of awards. I mean, if you go on their website, just about every one of their beers has at least won a silver. Some of them have gotten like, beer of the year kind of stuff. They're fantastic. So, obviously this one poured like golden yellow, but what was interesting is it poured kind of cloudy. So I'm wondering if this isn't a wit. I don't know. We'll have to see. So here we go. Lots of banana.
Okay.
Lots of breads.
Sounds like a triple.
It sounds like a triple. Yeah, I'm looking through their It's definitely not the peppercorn imperial. It's not spicy enough.
Man, that place just looks kick-ass.
Oh, dude, it's great. In fact, when you and Jefe get up here, because that's gonna happen, we're gonna take a bomb out to Bend. It's a 2.5 hour drive. We'll go out there, we'll get a hotel, and we'll just walk up and down Main Street because all the breweries have not only their brewery, but then like a brew house, pub, gastropub attached to it. So it's one of the best pub crawls on the planet, and nobody knows about it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That
God,
sounds like restitution.
It could be restitution. It doesn't taste super boozy, so some of these that get up around 9, 10, 11, 12%, I don't think it's one of those. But again, this could be one that I'm not familiar with, like the FNG, which is a Belgian style Abbey. It's an 8%er, and it could be that. I don't know. Again, I know it's a Belgian, a lot of banana, a lot of earth tones, a lot of like wheat and barley, and the hops are there, but they're not overpowering. And again, this is one of those beers and one of those breweries when people are like, I don't like beer. I'm like, well, then you haven't had one of these beers because you're thinking of beer like a Bud Light or like a Pabst or a fucking, old Milwaukee. This is so complex. This is so flavorful. Could you imagine this beer with a nice thick steak? And this just kind of mellows everything out. It's amazing. So, all right, let's uncover this. I know I'm in the neighborhood here. I just don't know which one we are looking at here. Hold on,
you said hoppy, and that you said there was a little hoppy. Now, I'm starting to
a little bit.
Might be capitulation.
Oh shit! It might be. You're right. Okay, really, woman. God damn it. Hold on.
Because it looks like capitulation is just the dry hop version of restitution, maybe.
Holy shit!
What is it?
It is capitulation.
Capitulation. There you go.
Yep.
Fucking
bam.
rad. Yeah.
Nailed it. Well done. Yeah. So there you go. A fantastic offering from Monkless. They I don't know how far outside of Oregon they get. They're kind of a mid-sized brewery, so I know some of their stuff gets down to California, Idaho, Nevada, kind of neighboring states, Washington. But really, I love that they're staying small, but they deserve to be everywhere. In fact, this might be a brewery that I include in everybody's upcoming beer kit. I'm starting to put together beer kits for everyone.
Oh, cool.
Start looking for that in the mail because it's on its way. We need to do another beer exchange. And this one, these guys are just so unique. They deserve to be everywhere. So that's what I've got. What are you drinking?
I have. Well, I actually first of all, I left this up to the listeners. To pick out
this is that beer. Awesome.
Yeah, I had. I had 3 Surly's, and my goal was I didn't know which one I wanted to pick, so I hadn't had any of these 3. I had Parker's Heritage Char, Cold Smoked Cherry, and Cocoa Nitro Darkness. So I left it up to the listeners to go ahead and pick which 2 I was gonna have on the show. So, Cold Smoked Cherry is the first one I'm having.
Okay.
That won 53.3% to 33% over Cocoa Nitro. So, pretty stoked for it. It's a Surly, so it's gonna be awesome. I already know that, but
you couldn't go wrong with any of those beers. They were all pretty fucking badass. Look at that artwork. That's crazy.
Yeah. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Barrel-aged darkness laid down on cold smoke cherries and dark sweet cherry puree. Brewed by Surly's Adam Dahl. This is the 2023 Cold Smoke Cherry Darkness Barrel-Aged Imperial Stout. I am warning you tonight. I drank way too much last night. Really rough night.
Yes.
And I'm hoping I'm okay tonight. I probably will not be hanging around for the after show, but we'll see how these beers go. So,
okay.
Here's the first taste. Oh my. So I really love chocolate and cherries, chocolate covered cherries.
Okay. Yep. Same.
And this, there's a cookie that my grandmother used to make. And it was a chocolate cookie with a cherry in the middle and then a dollop of chocolate over it. So it just kind of.
Yep.
So this is exactly what it reminds me of. And there is a burn at the end. You get bourbon right in the back. It is hitting. It is. I'm reflecting back to last night already.
So it's one of those cookies with a bourbon chaser.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Good
my
beer.
mom used to make those cookies too. She killed those cookies. They're so good. They're like my favorite.
Yep. I'm kind of wondering how a smoked cherry would be in that, like in those cookies. I'm really curious.
To add that complexity. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
think
Or
about
do you
that.
know what I had recently was we bought a jar of, because trying to get healthier, and one of the things that I keep reading a lot is eating pickled things really helps. It really helps your gut biome, which then in turn helps all of your chemical balances, which then helps you with muscle growth and blah yada yada yada. So one of the things we found were pickled cherries, and
Really?
I thought I don't know, but let's try them. Really, really good. Very unique. Like a cherry dipped in vinegar almost, but there's a heartiness to it that is really intriguing. I'm starting to get addicted to them. Like now I feel like that's all I'm going to eat. But they're very good. So, look for them in the store. If you can find some pickled cherries, let me know what you folks think. They're really good. I like them a lot.
Okay. That is weird. I haven't. I mean, I like pickles, but like other things that are pickled, I've never really gotten into. Like pickled onions, never got into it. So,
My grandpa
I'll have to
used
try
to
that.
eat pickled eggs at the bar, and then like if I was staying with him over the weekend, he'd eat the pickled eggs, and then he'd pass out, and then he'd have like the farts, and so understandably, I'm sort of against pickled eggs.
It doesn't look good. It looks alien.
Well, the artwork on your bottle there is definitely alien. It's a giant cyclops thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm glad we're both starting off with a good beer. Let's keep it rolling in the positive here if we can.
So let's go ahead and dive into the election. We'll get that out of the way, just because not a ton of exciting stuff happened. But it was interesting to me how I watched ABC, CBS, and MSNBC. And it was interesting how the coverage was all over Nikki Haley and what she needs to do to beat Trump. That's all this was about.
So in the setup here, Trump had a civil case that was being heard, and he had to appear in court the day before the New Hampshire election. The judge, the night before he was supposed to appear in court, the judge postponed it a day. So Trump wasn't even allowed to be in New Hampshire because he had to appear in court the day of the election. And he still fucking killed it. He still murdered everybody. And then to your point, McShane, it wasn't about anything that Trump did right. It wasn't about anything that the voters are seeing in Trump that they like. It was all about what Nikki Haley, which she keeps calling herself a brown woman. I don't see a brown woman. I see a white lady who's been grown up in privilege and now is identifying with the brown part of her so that she can get those voters. But anyway, it was all about what she can do to beat this faceless man that no one wants to talk about. It's to the point of absurdity where you have to look and go, do you guys hear yourselves? Because you sound nuts.
I don't think they do. I really don't think they do. I think they're perfectly okay with it, because nobody's saying, now you're bringing this up, You've never
Right.
had a problem with that previously.
Right.
So now you're going to talk about being bullied? Okay.
Well, and her comment that she made, I mean, she is like a professional foot and mouther. I don't know what that's called. Foot and mouth disease, but again this week her big quote, if you go on and look at Nikki Haley quote, what you're going to get is her saying, "I don't believe this country's ever been racist."
Yeah.
People are like, I'm sorry, did you not meet Jim Crow? Did you not see the lynchings that went on in the South? Have you not heard of slavery? Like, she is so fucking out of touch. And that's what I mean. Like, there's no part of her that's brown other than maybe her asshole. The rest of her is whiter than me, and I'm Irish and German. She's so out of touch. It's not even funny. There is literally nothing at this point, nothing she can do to make up the gap that exists between her and the Orange Man. Nothing.
And they're just their only goal is to try and get votes away from him.
Yep.
Even if she does, things reversed so badly this week that you're starting to finally see the push for Michelle Obama. It's come out that they're starting to do fundraising. They're lining up fundraising for her to come out because Biden's going to drop out in May or something.
Health reasons, which, my God, he should have done that 2 Mays ago.
Yeah, he should have. But this whole business with Nikki Haley, it was really interesting because even when they were trying to justify what she needed to do, you still had people from the old GOPers saying she doesn't have a chance. Nobody believes her. She's nuts. She's a warmonger. She's got money coming in from defense contractors. It's the only thing that's the only reason why her stance is the way it is. She's crazy. She really, really is. And I'm glad she got her ass kicked. I don't think she's going to be around after Nevada. Nevada's the next one that's coming this week or next week, I think.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that happening.
I agree. I mean, if she makes it, it'll be, through artificial means. And I'm not saying voter manipulation, although that's very clearly going on. I'm just saying that if she's still in the running, it'll be because the media only focuses on her and keeps her name on the lips of dumb Americans, not because she won any significant, voter numbers. And just quickly to go back to, she's trying very hard to identify as a brown woman, and yet she's not using her real name. I mean, let's not forget she has a Middle Eastern. Her name is Nimarata Randawa. I'm sure I'm butchering that, but Nimarata Nindawa. And in order to be more palatable to the white folk, she's changed her name to Nikki Haley. But yet you want to claim that you've been suppressed, you've been, held down your whole life then fucking embrace your name. If I'm going to try and win an election in Africa and claim that I've been suppressed, I'm not changing my name. I'm going to keep it what it is. But she's trying to play both sides here. And those of us that have a pulse, we see right through it. It's bullshit, and you can go fuck yourself, Nikki, Namarata, whatever you are.
So
I would respect her a lot more if she went down swinging as Namarata. You know what I mean? Like, just eat shit because nobody wants to vote for a Middle Eastern woman. I mean, Barack Obama was one of our presidents. Think about that name. But instead of going down swinging with who she is, she's going to fake it. And I have zero respect for that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine, and that really is the biggest thing, because she's not being true to herself. She's Jello. She conforms to whatever she needs to get whatever job she's trying to get, and that's the worst kind of person to deal with.
Yeah, it really is.
So DeSantis got his ass kicked out. He bailed. Immediately turned around and threw all his weight behind Trump. Biden won as a write-in candidate because he wasn't on the ballot in New Hampshire. Now, something else that was interesting here was that Dean Phillips, who's trying to get into the race, I want to say he's a congressman out of somewhere. I can't remember where, but he got 21% of the vote. And that's a pretty decent chunk in New Hampshire. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. I think we're at the point where we need to go ahead and keep an eye on Michelle Obama. I think it's finally coming. We kind of called this for a couple of years now, or a couple.
Yeah, we have
since early last year. But I think they're on pace to go ahead and pop that out. I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, I think they're finally desperate enough. And I mean, not saying anything against Michelle Obama. I'm just saying, she was kind of their last ditch effort. Like if she can't, if she can't carry it, then no one can. I mean, that's because she's using the Obama name, which, in some circles, he literally still walks on water, as does his wife / trans wife, whatever.
The meme that's out there of Trump throwing a football and hitting Michelle Obama in the dick is fucking hilarious.
Oh, it's amazing.
I don't know who.
It's amazing. I
don't know who comes up. I've got a dark heart, I do, and a dark sense of humor, and I'm okay with memeing, but some of these folks, geez, I don't know who hurt them.
I know,
but they're they come from a dark, funny place, and I just appreciate that shit so much.
Me too. When I see something like that, I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't have to put that out there. Like somebody else was a little bit darker than me. Yeah.
Yep. So election 2024, it is off and cruising. We are probably going to see a ton more as far as antics go. Vivek Ramaswamy is still being very vocal. It's going to be interesting to see if he doesn't end up being Trump's VP candidate. I think that might be coming.
That's been thrown around. I think, listen, we've said it before. I like what he says. I like how he says it. He has, it's been documented that he's copied some direct, verbiage and speeches from Obama. But that's, let's remember that Obama is copying that from whoever his speechwriter was and from, past candidates. It's not like these words and these phrases don't get recycled every election cycle. It's just Americans too stupid to remember them. So I'm willing to forgive that from Vivek. And again, he's well spoken. He gets shit done. He's not going to take shit from, someone trying to corner him and paint him in a corner of some, pronoun conversation. He won't take it. He's like, that's a ridiculous statement. And I'm going to tell you why. I would love to see him get up there with whomever the Democrats want to think is a forerunner for vice president. Who do they have to offer? Kamala? Are you kidding me? A debate between Kamala and Vivek would be an absolute.
Speaking of that, there was a story that came out and it was very quiet, very under the radar, that Biden's looking to choose a different VP candidate and he wants Kamala to bow out.
Well, I heard those rumors too, because she's worthless. We've all realized that now. Do you know? I have this image in my head and I can't get it out of my head. Do you all remember when Biden actually won, quote unquote won, and it was a weird, it seemed like it was in an old drive-in movie theater. Do you remember the footage of that? It just seemed like a bunch of people pulled up their cars and they were cheering for him, and it was like maybe 500 people.
Yeah, he
and
tried to do
it wasn't
grassroots bullshit.
Yeah. But it came off feeling like it was like, hey, we're not sure we're going to win, so we just want a few of our closest friends to come out and yell really loud. Mm-hmm. And I can't get the image out of my head when he and Kamala were standing up there, And it was one of the most awkward scenes I've ever seen of just, I don't know, dude. Thinking back on it, it almost looked like they knew they were stealing it and they were just faking their way through it. It was like, we don't really believe that we won, but yeah, let's yell with everybody. Woo woo. It was very strange.
I think this is it, isn't it?
No, this wasn't it. This was his acceptance speech, but this wasn't the one where he actually won. I mean, literally, it looked like an old drive-in. It was outdoors. It's like an old drive-in theater. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll throw it into
We'll see if we
chat
can
here.
get it. Yeah, because I had totally forgotten about that until you just mentioned it.
Okay.
And that is something that I don't know. Did you see him this week when he's got the hat on backwards? He was wearing the hard hat backwards.
I didn't see that. I did see him trying to talk about beer, and then he started mumbling, and then he said something about the Great Lakes, and everybody laughed because no one knew what he was talking about. But
yeah, here's the meme that went along with it. Here he is. Actually, it's not even a meme. That's part of he's wearing his fucking hard hat backwards, and you can even have it. Even has the back of the head brace that's on there. It's right above his nose. And Snopes tried to say that this wasn't. I'm not real impressed with Snopes because they tried to say President Joe Biden wore a hard hat backwards during a photo op with union construction workers in Superior, Wisconsin. They're saying it was false. Well, Snopes had to go back and they actually had to change it, and they had to change it to being true.
Yeah, that's backwards.
That is a backwards hat.
I've worn a hard hat. That's
yes.
That little fucking thing is supposed to go up underneath the lip in the back of your head, not on your
Correct.
fucking forehead, you moron.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I can't get that image out of my head because at the time I was like, well, this seems really weird. Like, I mean, I know it was a big win to beat Trump, but it almost feels like they don't believe that they won. And now looking back, I'm like, maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. It's very strange.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's coming up as far as we've talked about the voting before, about how there's a lot of questionable activities, and it's still a thing in Georgia. Georgia's still going through it, which is amazing because we're 3 years post all, or 4 years post all that crap, but they're still talking about it. I just go back to paper ballots.
I mean, I'd like to.
You got to walk in and drop it off.
Yeah, but then who's counting them? I mean, I've always had those questions, and I know that there's enough of us out there who honor the process of an election.
I want to.
You could get enough of us that would be like the vote counters. Like, hey, he voted for the other guy, but I'm going to count it because his vote counts. But I don't know if that's the people counting him. I feel like it's people paid and bought, or bought and paid. I don't know. Whatever you do with a hooker. And they're the ones counting the votes. I mean, that whole movie 2000 Mules that like got buried.
Yeah.
And even when I first saw it, I was like, that's bullshit. It's actually true, guys. That's what they did. And I don't know if 2,000 people going out and dropping a few hundred ballots here and there made a difference, but it might have. And just the fact that they tried to do it is enough for you to go, wait a minute, is this free and fair elections, or are we just another Ukraine?
Yeah. Hey, you said hooker. Is that fall into the drinking game for the Grays?
No, hookers aren't sexual. That's a business transaction. It gets sexual when I start talking about myself and what I want to do to my beer.
Okay. But not if you wanted to talk about like doing something to a hooker. That would not count. Like this conversation doesn't count. They shouldn't have to drink for this.
No. But if I get explicit about what I would do or have done to a person, place, or thing, then obviously you're going to have to drink, you assholes. I hold on. I found this article. I'm gonna send this to you.
Okay.
If you scroll down, this isn't video. But if you scroll down, you'll see the picture of the video that I was talking about. At least that's what I saw on election night. He was outside on this fucking, I don't know, this stage. And it just seemed false. Jill was there, and then Kamala came up. Oh, maybe there is video. I didn't see video before. Oh, come on.
This is a
Fucking
commercial, it
commercials.
looks like.
We don't care. We can edit all this out.
Blah, 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 blah. Thanks, CNN.
Right? Fucking talk about bought and paid for. Hookers.
We've reached a historic moment in this election. We can now project the winner of the presidential race. CNN projects Joseph
CNN
R.
projection.
Biden Jr. is elected the 46th president of the United States, winning the White House and
All right, so that's just CNN's call. That's okay. But this is the picture I
So
think
look,
you're talking
yeah,
about.
yes,
We'll make
yes.
sure this
that
is
one
in,
right there. See where they're grasping hands and they're holding them up and they have masks on. By the way, remember that? That was still mid-mask. And they had the giant American flag behind them. But in that whole video, there was literally like 500 people, and they were in their cars, dude. It was because of COVID. It looked like a drive-in theater.
Mm-hmm.
And it just
Fucking dumb.
seemed like, I mean, obviously all the, acceptance speeches and all the victory, those are all staged. I get it. But this one seemed like they weren't sure. So they were only going to get a few people out there just in case. I don't know. Maybe these days, dude, I read way too far into everything, including how I'm looking at things. It's crazy.
Do we do that too much?
No, I don't think we do. Well, okay. Yes, I do it too much throughout the week. I don't think we do it too much on the show.
Okay.
Because believe me, what you all are getting is like the razor's scrapings off of the top of the scab. All week I'm picking at that scab, making it bleed. And I that's a really gross way to put it, but that's kind of how I feel. Like I'm creating scars because I want to know more. I got to go deeper. And then when we get to the show, I'm like, well, I don't want everybody to see like, my boil. So let's just talk about the very surface of it and let them make their own choices, which is what this show is all about. Like, we're here to present some information, present some opinions about that information, and then you get to play with it and you go and run whichever direction you want to run. I appreciate that 90% of the time people in chat agree with what we're saying, but I really appreciate the 10% of the time where they're like, I think you're dead fucking wrong,
you guys
and
are full
this is
of
a free
shit.
country. Yeah, and we can think what we want, and that's great. That's exactly right. That's how it should be. So I don't know. I don't think we do it too much on the show, although if I do, please let us know, because I don't want to be that kind of show. I really don't.
Hey, let's listen to the elites. Can we do that real quick?
Absolutely.
The globalist 1% elite really does hate you. Yesterday I mentioned how the Davos elite is in a panic that populism is winning. Most spectacularly with Donald Trump's historic wins in Iowa and New Hampshire, in response to which the globalists are toying with a Pentagon-led constitutional coup. Of course, it's not just America. We've seen dramatic populist wins rolling in across the West, from Holland to Argentina, as the inevitable election calendar finally lets the sovereign people tell the elite what they think about them. Indeed, going by polling, even France and Germany could be next, to the point that major elements of Germany's globalist uniparty is pushing to literally ban the second biggest party in the country, something Germany has not done since the 1930s. Ex-British Prime Minister Boris Johnson summed it up in a recent speech with, quote, "The global wokerati are trembling violently, collapsing into a, quote, sheer gibbering funk." Heady stuff, but it raises the question why exactly voters are so violently rejecting the elites whose countries they hijack. Thankfully, a recent poll from the Committee to Unleash Prosperity lays it out in raw numbers. They commissioned a poll with the respected Rasmussen organization asking only America's 1%, so defined as people with a postgraduate degree and an income over $150,000. The results will not surprise you, but they were pretty ugly. For starters, America's elite overwhelmingly believe the people have too much freedom. 70% of those expressing an opinion. By the way, non-elite voters overwhelmingly believe the opposite. 80% believe we have too little freedom. Next, the elite believes that teachers, not parents, should be deciding what children are taught, again by 70%. They overwhelmingly trust the government to do the right thing. Almost 80% think we should, quote, strictly ration gas, meat, and electricity for so-called climate change. That rises to 90% among Ivy League graduates, who are the most indoctrinated. Presumably, they assume their incomes or connections will buy their way out. It'll just be us, little people, eating the bugs. 70% want an immediate ban on gas stoves. 81% want gas-powered vehicles outlawed, starting with, of course, SUVs and pickups. Majorities want to ban air conditioning, non-essential air travel. That would mean effectively banning family vacations. Of course, going by current restrictions, these would not apply to private jets or luxury compounds. After all, when you can walk from your bed to your resort-style pool, there is no carbon footprint to track. Finally, and maybe this will help some of our confused media, nearly 90% of these 1%ers approve of Joe Biden. Perhaps because they overwhelmingly report their finances are going great by a 4-to-1 margin. In case the cocktail party crowd wonders why regular Americans are not feeling the Biden magic. As the poll's authors sum up, people who run America, or at least think they do, live in a bubble of their own construction. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. This poll was America, but I imagine the gap is similar across the West, including Europe, Argentina. 2024, by sheer coincidence, will have the most elections we've seen in decades. Literally 75% of the countries with free or partially free elections will take place this year. That's over 50 countries. I'd hazard that not in a single country will voters agree with the globalist 1%. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
So anybody who wants to follow him, that's Professor St. Onge on Twitter at PROFSTONGE.
He's we were kind of talking about in the chat. He's been spitting straight fire lately. I feel like he's getting angry enough, or he just is like losing his compunction to give a shit. But he's coming right the fuck out and saying it. And that was one example. He's had a couple of the videos where he even got a little bit more edgy. Like, hey, fuck the rich, because this is what they're doing to you. And he always has receipts. Really, really great follow. And I also think he's become, surprisingly, I don't think even he saw this, but he's become a voice of the people, even though he used to be a professor himself teaching economics. He's spitting straight, arrows, and all of us are like, yeah, that's the truth. What he just said is the truth. And so yeah, great follow. And really, I mean, every morning he's on my list of videos that I have to watch right after Ben Davidson. So yeah, good stuff.
So in chat, you guys can, in show notes, you guys will be able to go and get to the actual poll that he was referencing, the Rasmussen poll. Didn't take me too long to actually dig this one up. You guys got to remember, when we do any kind of everything that we have, you're going to find everything we have in our show notes. So go to the website, whiskeyhellpod.com, and you guys are going to see our show notes as they are written. Okay, it's not we don't. Just nothing else is done to them. You're going to get what we get.
Yeah, it's not polished.
Yeah. So you'll be able to go ahead and look up this survey. It's actually Committee to Unleash Prosperity.com. That's where you'll find it. But it was a Rasmussen poll. So 1,000 members of the elites, and it was recorded online. It looks like it was taken between 11/26, 2023. No, yeah, September 11th to 20. Yeah. So it's a legit poll. I guess I'm trying to substantiate that a little bit more because I find this poll absolutely repugnant. That this is what this is, it's saying the quiet stuff out loud, and it's just disgusting.
Yeah, and I mean, it goes right back to his first sentence that Peter said in the very beginning of the video. The elite hate you, and you go, oh, come on. I mean, they are standing on our backs, so how could they hate us? And then you see this poll, and repugnant is a great word, McShane. It is repugnant. It is shameful that one human could see the other humans this way. And it's, the numbers in this poll, the other thing, it wasn't like 51%, 53%, where they're like just barely edging out. No, they're 70% and up of they want us to not have SUVs. They want us to not have vacations. They want us to not eat meat. They want us to not have air conditioning. 75, 80, 85, 90% of them think we need to start banning these things. And like he said, not for us, for you. It's unbelievable. And yet that's where we are. And you go back to, and I know this is probably where we're going next, but you go back to now the populist movement of supporting Texas in their fight for their own border. It's us, the real people, the masses who are like, what you're doing is wrong, and we're not going to take it anymore. Look at Germany and the farmer uprising. Look at France, Belgium, Sweden. They're all having farmer uprisings where they're like doing shit that's not just annoying anymore. They're like tearing up pavement, streets, so that people can't drive on them anymore. We've had enough. It is time for another, peasant uprising, whatever it needs to be. But the elites, the people with the power, need to be put in check. And I think we all feel it. It's just, now's the time.
So, Aaron in chat, it's because they genuinely believe that they are better than us. I think it's that too, they Aaron. But yeah. My angle on it is one that I think they're scared to death. I think they're scared to death. So they are going to go ahead and they're going to run to the government. Take care of me, right? Take care of me and my 1% brother and sisters. Make sure that I'm okay. Make sure that food is rationed so that I'm okay. Make sure that you're only going to put up, you're only going to allow certain kind of stoves because I can afford to have those stoves and I want to make sure everybody else stays down. Make sure that you limit the peasants so that I'm going to be fine in my little walled garden. Take care of me. That's what I got from this. And it screams it. It absolutely screams it. It's disgusting. It's one of the worst things that I've seen lately, but it's incredibly. It was a fascinating poll.
Yeah, and to your point, Aaron, when they think they're better than us, and I agree with you. I think they do think that. When you start talking about better or worse, that's a qualitative, not quantitative. That's a qualitative,
absolutely.
Argument you're making. So, in what way do you think you're better than me? We can start at the bottom and work our way up. Do you think your shit smells better than mine? Probably not. All the way up to and including, do you think if the two of us were locked in a padded room, which one of us do you think would come out alive? I mean, I would literally be willing to fight any elite on the planet. I mean, who out there is going to walk into a room with a blue collar guy who farms every day and his hands are made of fucking stones and be able to compete with that in a fight, in a fist fight, in a padded room? Or fuck, I'll take an IQ test. I mean, against everyone but Elon, I think I'm going to do okay. Because the rest of these fucking idiots, the ones they're propping up, Biden, Kamala, are you kidding me? Klaus Schwab, fuck you. I'll take that IQ test 5 times every day this week and beat him every time. Like, so in what way are you better than me or anyone I know? You're not. It's so offensive. And the only reason you think you're better is because you were born into privilege and you were taught to think that you're better than me. And you're not. Believe me, guys, you bleed red just like me.
So let's pivot over to something else that we'll just call it what it is. I mean, wokeism, the need to make sure that immigration is going to stay, hot and heavy.
Yeah, and sorry, I got a little militant there. That was my inner Irish coming out, and
hey, no, that was perfectly fine. I think it was well stated.
Sometimes you need to fucking smack a bitch in the mouth, And I don't mean that as like a female. I mean that as like somebody who thinks they're something they're not. They need to be put in check.
A bitch is a bitch. We're not. Yeah, there's no identity there. There's no pronoun other than being a bitch. So you guys in chat who are drinking, when somebody says pronouns, you have to drink because a bitch is now a pronoun.
Yes, I think about the Jay-Z line.
99 problems, but a bitch ain't one.
99 problems. Yeah, exactly. When he's like, the type, loud as a motorbike, but wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. Those are the people I'm talking about. Yeah. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. You're weak. You're soft. Let's do this.
And you have to hide behind the government to make sure that you're going to be okay.
Of course.
Yeah. Protect me. Make sure I'm okay. The Supreme Court decided that the Biden administration can resume removal of razor wire installed by the state of Texas along the border near Eagle Pass. Now, this has been a wild week because it went from the Supreme Court weighing in to Biden threatening to do something. We can't really tell what he was going to do because he hasn't. He said, if they don't remove it, I'm going to militarize the National Guard. Well, that didn't come. He had a deadline that was I think Friday night. Didn't do it. I think he even said something about it, doing it again today. If they didn't do it, you guys don't do it by tonight, we're gonna do something. Yeah. It's really weird that this is happening in an election year. But here's the problem that I'm having with all this. And this was a problem before I saw the video that I saw tonight and I posted in chat. I can't remember the individual who was actually handling it. I didn't want to put it into the show because it's very visual, not real. It doesn't really explain a lot other than this guy went out and actually went down the border, which the border is massive, by the way. I don't know if anybody is really aware of this, but it's I think it's 1,254 miles long, the Texas-Mexican border. Excuse me. So everybody's upset, and it's Civil War time, and we're the National Guard has been called out, and 25 other states are totally on board with what Texas is doing as far as shutting it down. And we're talking about just Eagle Pass.
Yep.
Now, the Texas border, like I said, is absolutely fucking massive. From El Paso down to the Gulf of Mexico. And we're talking about just Eagle Pass, which is actually what?
Like the midpoint, a little bit past the midpoint.
Yeah. I mean, it's the midpoint.
Going west
but we're
to
not.
east.
It's not like we're talking about the whole Texas border has been shut down. Now, I think overall, I think it's great that, hey, they did something. That's cool. Yeah. But that's not where everybody's coming in.
No, and I mean, I've told you the stories. My firsthand experiences being down in Sierra Vista, down in southeastern Arizona. The particular house I was staying at, we could walk out and just go for a little hike, and not like a 3-hour hike. I mean, like 15 minutes outside of the house, and you start seeing backpacks, children's clothes, toothbrushes, deodorant sticks, things being discarded because they know they've made it into the United States. And that's one little tiny sliver of Arizona. So yeah, when you're talking about the Texas border, which by far has the largest border with Mexico, I mean, it's almost overwhelming. You know, remember when Trump was like, we're going to build a wall and we're going to make Mexico pay for it? We were like, dude, you're a fucking moron. Stop it. And now I'm like, okay, God damn it. We need that wall. Like, where is that wall? I will absolutely put all of my tax money towards that instead of the national debt. Like, I don't want my money going to someone else's problems. I want my money going towards a huge border wall that people can't get through, over, or under. And let's stop these people from coming in. I'm not even saying I don't want them here. I'm just saying, wait a minute. We don't even know what's coming here now. We have no idea who these people are. None. It's insanity.
Well, and there was this, excuse me, this got, you guys should drink every time I have to clear my throat. Sorry, guys. But there was even something that got some press earlier this week was a known terrorist coming in. Known terrorist. You don't know who I am, but you're about to. That was his quote. He was being interviewed by some talking head. I think Rebel News was down there or something. It was hokey enough that it wasn't worth like sending into our chat.
Right.
But to that point though, you don't know who's coming in. It's completely lawless when it comes to that. But I don't see where this, an unpopular opinion right now, I'm standing guard, I'm throwing down the gauntlet over Eagle Pass doesn't do anything for me when you've got another 1,200 miles that are unprotected.
Well, but I think this is the flashpoint, right? I mean, every fire has has a spark. Well, yeah, yes, I do think it is, only because it's what has been publicized. Now, could this be a head fake? That, hey, look over here while we let millions more in over here on this border? Absolutely. But for now, this is the legal showdown. This is where the federal government and Texas have chosen to set legal precedents. Like, we chose Eagle Pass, we're going to take it back, which they did. Texas did. And the federal government said, you can't do that. And so, yes, it's a small sliver. I mean, it's not even a quarter mile. I mean, no. to your point,
it's a bridge and then a little bit of ground.
Yeah.
It's
hardly anything. Apparently it's a huge entry point just because of geography. It kind of funnels people into that point. But yeah, people are willing to go up and down mountains, through rivers, through the desert, and lose half their party just to get across the border. So yeah, we're not going to stop it just at Eagle Pass, but I do think from a legal standpoint, from, SCOTUS, from the presidency, from the state of Texas, and all of the other governors now who have joined this cause, Eagle Pass is sort of the Alamo, right? It's like, we're making our stand here. We're putting our flag down here. And if this flag falls, the other 1,200 miles, however long the border is from Corpus Christi all the way out to San Diego, it's open borders at that point. So they have to make a stand somewhere. I think that this is the Alamo. We have to do it here.
I want drones along the border. I want troops along the border. I want 1,254 miles worth of wall, and then you can have a few gates here and there where you're actually checking, you're actually looking at who's trying to come in. You want to seek asylum? Fucking sweet. Why? Tell me why. Not because you're from China, or just because you're from India, or just because you're from Pakistan. Notice I'm not mentioning the Mexicans.
Right. Or anybody from South America, honestly.
Yeah, it isn't. That's not what's happening anymore. Throw up a massive wall And then let's go ahead and talk about who needs to come into the country. And that's fine. Add more judges so that you can get people through the process faster. Do the things that you should be doing to make sure that somebody can come into the country and be successful. And that's fine. But this doesn't do, I love, yes, it's awesome that it's happening, but it makes me question how much of it is actually bullshit, because that's just a talking point. It's like, this is convenient because Trump is running, because it's a talking point for him. It's almost like somebody said, hey, Governor Abbott, wheel your chair down to Eagle Point, stick a flag in the ground, and let's make sure I've got some ammo for the election. I can't keep my mind out of going there. I do think it's awesome that 25 states are like jumping on board with it. They're all Republican states.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yes, they are. And I mean, when you talk about Republican states, I will talk about Oregon specifically. I know there are other states that fall in this category. I would say if you were to take, geographically speaking, this is a red state. But we have Portland and Salem that are blue cities, which have a lot of people in them. So it makes us look like a blue state, but really we're not. I mean, even here in Eugene, there's a lot of liberals, there's a lot of college professors, etc., but they certainly do not speak for the vast majority of Eugenians. I mean, most of the people I interact with on a day-to-day basis are they're ready for this civil war. They're with Texas. They want the border closed. Because it's not about people coming in, it's about the ramifications of what that means later. And I just looked it up just so everybody's got the facts right. The southern border with Mexico is 1,954 miles from Texas all the way over to the edge of California.
Right.
So, yes, we're talking about one tiny sliver of that border where someone has put a flag down and said, we are going to make a stand here. Now, when hey, wait, we have a Jefe sighting here.
We do have a Jefe sighting.
Hi.
Jefe, what's up, man?
Oh, just hanging out. What are you guys doing?
Well, our chat is actually drinking because you just came online. Hello?
You guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
Hello?
Are you here?
Okay. I'm here.
Hello, are you there?
Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh, do we have a Buttercup sighting?
Hi.
And?
What?
And L.
Oh my gosh, Buttercup and Elle not joining in the chat. They're coming in live.
It's a threesome.
Oh shit. All right. I want to hear all the squishes and licks. Go for it. Sorry, did I just go sexual? Everybody drink.
I think you did, and I think you need to go ahead and drink.
Oh, bam!
There's a drinking game going on in chat, so just so you guys are aware.
Just so you know.
Okay. Hey, speaking of drinking games, I was just at a table with like 3 drunk people, and Buttercup walked by to go. Are you using the bathroom?
Yes.
Okay, she came in to use the bathroom. I didn't know they were here yet.
And to let you know we were here.
And she comes by my table, but doesn't break stride. And the guy turns around and goes, "Oh, I'll take a Michelob Ultra."
Grab my arm.
Yeah, he grabbed her, and I was like, "It's the most random thing ever."
Wait,
I said,
Buttercup.
I'm not surfing right now, but I hope you get one real soon.
Buttercup, did you wear your waitress uniform again tonight?
I did, and it's like an assless. I'll send you a picture of it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I can understand why
Yes, please.
Up something.
Yeah, but she has the hat on like the cabs have that say "not on duty," and it's lit. So, I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking.
The dude's a little inebriated. I get it. I've done it.
Yeah.
You know.
You know who?
Hey.
Who he said I looked like?
Who?
Pierce
Yes.
Brosnan. Pierce
No,
Brosnan.
it wasn't that good.
Brad Pitt.
I never heard this one before. It was Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
Dude, Billy Bob's a badass. I'd take that compliment any day.
He asked me which movie I liked acting in the most, and I said the one with Halle Berry.
Oh yeah, Monsters
Well,
Ball.
I bet
got
you
to
did.
he got to
She's not black.
bang that beautiful woman.
Well,
my
I kind of get it though.
Yeah, I
Like,
can see it.
Your hair is better than Billy Bob's.
I agree. Yeah, and you have a better beard. But yeah, I mean, Billy Bob, if you want to go down the list of amazing films he's been in, which by the way, first time I ever saw Billy Bob Thornton, still might be my favorite movie he was ever in, which is Pushing Tin with John Cusack. And if you haven't seen it, yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, go out and do yourself a favor. Go see that movie. It's an amazing movie. But yeah, you got Bad Santa. I mean, he's been in so much amazing stuff where he can be the serious, amazing, like Academy Award winning actor, but he can also do Bad Santa. I mean, that's amazing.
She's not wrong about comparing the sizes of the two.
Wow.
So
are you saying Jefe's dinger is as big as Billy Bob Thornton's?
I haven't seen Billy Bob's, but I could report back.
Yeah, no, I've heard
Wow.
he is well distributed. Like, if you're gonna talk about his name, Bill.
It's as long as his legs.
Well, if you're gonna talk about it, like Billy Bob Thornton, like the Billy, or maybe the Thornton is his dick. Like, it's the bigger part of him.
It's like a baby's arm.
Well, I was thinking more like a Fitz's arm, which I've been working out, so that's like significant.
Wow.
Well,
This just took a turn. This just took a turn between Tabby and Buttercup here.
It's
It definitely did. How's the night going?
We're making Aaron uncomfortable.
Yeah. How is the night going otherwise, Jefe?
Oh, pretty good. I mean, it got a lot better when they walked in. But yeah, the boobs. No, it's going pretty good.
Pictures or it didn't happen.
Billy Bob Thornton's been married like 7 times.
Oh God, yeah, he's done everybody, including Angelina Jolie, who was also in Pushing Tin.
If he's got a giant cock, he must be such a prick. Be married 7 times.
I mean, look, I'm speaking from experience here. A giant cock doesn't always keep the lady around.
God. Oh.
That one's better.
So, while we're on the subject, my football picks. Huh? How about that?
You are
phenomenal.
You are on fire, dude. You are on fire in the way that a yacht is on fire. It's gonna sink.
I have a gift, and my gift to you guys is that I shared that gift. And I told weeks ago, put your money on a Kansas City Detroit Super Bowl, and here we are. They're still both alive.
You absolutely did not say that, but here we are.
Yeah, I did. I know what I said.
All right, we'll have to go back and check the tapes on that one because it's not like there's any audio record of something like that.
No, we don't need to do that. I mean, my word is my bond, and I'd put my hand on the Holy Bible.
Yeah.
So
hey,
anyway,
did you have a farm report for us this week? I thought you did.
I got a little something for you.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. All right, hit us with it.
All right. So this is farm related. Did you know that soybean oil from 1 bushel of soybeans will make 2,112 crayons? That's your farm report.
No.
Also, crayons are grown from soybeans. I forgot to mention that part.
Oh, God, this is the extra value that we bring each week. Thank you, Jefe.
This is what we do.
Oh my gosh, it was phenomenal. I didn't know crayons were made out of soybeans.
Yeah, me either. Me either, but they are.
So it's okay if you eat them.
I think.
I guess is that what I just heard?
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's how Billy Bob grew his penis. Was he just ate crayons as a 2-year-old?
Yeah, kids do like to eat crayons.
Exactly.
So
And burgers.
The math is there.
The math checks out. Hey, were
So
there
what else
any?
is
Well, I was just going to ask you, was there any specific stories from this week that you were super charged by?
I like the 13 stories that kind of pointed to the world coming to an end in some way.
So our whole show, Doc. That's what that was. That was where you're all over it. Okay, good.
Like everything, in some way, is pointing in the bad direction.
So we asked this earlier. Are we too looking at things too closely? That was one of our questions. So you can weigh in, because I think you have a different, maybe a different overall opinion, maybe from how our chat looks most of the time.
I don't think you guys are looking too closely. I mean,
okay,
you're digging deep, but you're not.
We like it deep.
Did you hear that?
Yes, we did.
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
That's what she said, but that's also my line, because I need to make people drink. So I should have said that.
Uh-huh. No, I think there's just a lot of scary stuff going on, and you guys are covering it. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I guess, you used to have the town crier who would come out and, hear ye, and talk about whatever he thought was important. What McShane and I are doing is not that. I mean, yes, we do filter things to what we prioritize things, what we feel like you need to hear, but we're just reporting what's happening. There's no propaganda in this. We're not being paid by anyone. Right. This is just like the shit that's actually happening. And here's other people's reactions. Here's our reactions. And then what do you think? And what's crazy is everybody's kind of trending the same way. Like, this is crazy shit, and we're in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's 2 drinks. That's 2 drinks for you guys. That Jefe, every time.
Yep.
Every time, not that you have to be self-conscious of this, but every time that you do a or that yeah, or
the trademark.
It's it's a
you
drink.
know what I get that from Larry Gatos, who's on KTAR,
and Billy Bob.
Billy Bob. No, time, but I got to get inside.
All right.
You
zip
go.
up your pants. Have a good night.
Yep. I like the way you talk. See you, man.
It's gonna be an hour and 20, so I probably won't see you guys again.
Yeah, I think we may miss you, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right. See you guys.
All right, brother. Love you, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
I was waving.
Hi. Bye, Lil. All right.
I love radio when you have to describe what's physically happening.
Exactly.
L's waving. So is my. Never mind.
And drink.
Yeah.
Every time you get sexual.
Are we? How's that beer doing, dude? How's that beer?
Oh, I'm done. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I killed mine. God damn, this was a good fucking beer. I have to say my respect for Monkless grows every time I have one of their beers, as does my member. So go ahead and drink, everybody.
Oh my God.
But no, Monkless is killing it. They're really doing a good job. This one made me want to seek out and search them more often. So well done, Monkless. But let's see what's in the sack for the next beer. I to be very honest with everybody, I don't know where I'm going to go next with this, but it's going to be fucking good.
All right. All right. Well, we will be back with you guys in a couple of minutes. All right. Beer 2. Fitz, I've got a nitro. And so I had one actually the other day. I went to a new brewery, and they did it's not even a new brewery. It's a new brewery for me because I hadn't been to it before. But they don't distribute on my side of town. It's called Greenwood Brewing. Okay. It's a women. It's owner, brewer, all women operation. Awesome beer. Awesome, phenomenal beer. Very cool tap house too. But they had a nitro there that was really, really good. And like nitros are really easy to screw up just because of the chemicals involved.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So if it doesn't, I'm a little leery of this one. I gotta be honest. This is Surly Brewing's Cocoa Nitro. With both of these beers, these are variations of their Surly Darkness. It's their Imperial Stout. And oh my God, this is not wanting to open. Oh, this isn't good. Dude, every fucking week. This is not good.
Yeah. Yeah, you've had a time.
I've had
is
a
it wax
bad
covered?
run. No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
a can.
Because I've had a really shitty run with the wax covered beers. I'm in there with fucking just about every kitchen knife I own, trying to get the wax off of these things so I can get a grip on it with a bottle opener. It's crazy. I love the idea of the wax thing because it seals it, but I also hate the idea of it because I got to get through that shit.
No, this isn't. I can't. And I will wager that this is part of the problem is because it's nitro.
Yeah.
So I can't open the fucking beer. Fucking phenomenal. All right, I'm pausing this for a second. I'm going to do it right. I'll be right back. So we're good. Nope. Never happened. And now I'm pouring my beer incredibly slowly. I had to actually use a can opener to get this fucking thing out.
Yes! Yes!
So stupid.
Hey, you know what? This is the kind of content we bring to you. Hard-hitting, can-opening content.
So ridiculous.
Well, I'm glad you got it open. What do you got?
All right, so this is Cocoa Nitro. This is a nitro bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout with toasted coconut, vanilla, and cocoa. I will find it here because there it is. Another 12%er, so it's going to be heavy. Pours a nice nitro, though. Very good, probably about a quarter of an inch head on it. And it's a thick one, too.
Nice.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, they nailed it.
Nice.
That's trouble. And boozier. So, you know the consistency of Guinness?
Oh, yeah.
Big, super thick head, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
This has the consistency of Guinness. And it is chocolate booze. Oh, my God.
See, it's in that 12% neighborhood where you can go one of two ways. You can go like, wow, you're really getting the booze, and you can tell it's 12%er. Or you can go with, let's cover it up with so many other flavors that you think you're drinking a 4%er. And I actually respect the beers that you can taste the booze because at least you know where you're going, and you can be like, okay, I'm drinking something worth drinking here. So, that's all.
If I'm having something that's barrel aged or whiskey barreled, well, barrel aged in general, right? Whether it's bourbon, whiskey, doesn't matter.
Right.
I got to know that it actually was. You can't just say, well, it's bourbon barreled, but we're not going to let you taste it. That's just a shitty way to do it. I mean, there's a reason why I'm buying it. Or otherwise, just don't do that and just have a normal stout.
Well, Well, right, exactly. Why do all the other shit to it if you're not going to make it something special?
Oh wow, oh man, that's good. I don't taste the coconut. The bourbon barrel it's prominent. It's in your face. That's a boozy fucking beer. Good one because it's a the creamy finish of it. The nitro mellows it out. That one burns. Whew.
Nice.
All right, what do you got over there?
All right. Well, I think in the last 6 weeks or so, I've done 3 of these now. This is from AleSmith Brewing Company, which is a San Diego outfit. But they do their Speedway Stout, and then they've gotten smart enough to take that Speedway Stout and imperialize it. So they had their Speedway Stout, Imperial, and then they were like, hey, we could do other stuff with the Imperial, which they're now doing. So I think a few weeks ago I had the Cherry Edition, I had a Coconut Edition, and now I'm doing the Affogato Edition, which is Affogato is like an Italian. Some people claim it as a dessert. Other people just claim it as like a after dinner drink, but it's basically espresso with vanilla ice cream put in it. So the bitter of the espresso gets mellowed out by the sweetness of the vanilla ice cream, and you have yourself a mouthgasm. So this is their Affogato edition of the Speedway Stout. I'm not a huge coffee stout person, as those of you who have been longtime listeners of the show will know. However, this one intrigued me just because it is AleSmith, and they seem to put a lot of care in what they do. They don't go over the top with any of their ingredients or their flavors. They don't try to bamboozle you with, too much of anything. They just say, look, we're going to try and make a well-balanced beer with some hints of, A, B, and C. And so I'm hoping this sticks with that tradition. So we'll see what we got here. It also is in the 12% neighborhood. So We'll see if we kind of go with McShane's beer, of like, whoa, booze, or where they just try and cover it up too much.
So I'm going, that's a 12%er. Our iconic signature Imperial Stout with coffee is taken to the next level with this elegant and decadent version with a combination of Tahitian vanilla beans and premium espresso. The Subway Stout variant is the ultimate coffee dessert, well suited as the perfect nightcap.
God damn. I am not. I don't drink coffee daily. I know our co-host Jefe. He drinks coffee every day. I know you partake in coffee. The farthest I'll go is with a chai tea with a shot of espresso in it. So I mean, I'll have coffee, but I don't like the coffee taste. This beer might be the perfect balance between a solid Imperial Stout where you're getting that 12%, but then you get the bitter and sweet from the vanilla, the bitter from the coffee, the sweet from the vanilla, and it does taste a bit like I'm having an espresso, a sweetened espresso.
Neat.
This is really nice. Very subtle. AleSmith is good at subtle. Even their artwork on their cans, it's all subtle. Very well done. I'm very happy with this beer. What nice job, AleSmith. Again, as all of you can tell, I'm not going sexual. I didn't go sexual with my first beer.
Yep.
I'm not going to go sexual with this one. I'm not at that point. It's good, but I'm not making love to this thing.
That's okay. There has to be stouts like that. See, and
I have to have standards, McShane. I have to have standards.
You are goddamn right. You do.
I can't fuck everything moving. Come on.
Hey, question for you. What type of glass are you serving that in?
I'm still I go with my Yeti.
Okay.
I have a coffee mug. That's a Yeti. I like the neutrality of the stainless steel.
Okay.
I like glass too, but I like the neutrality of the stainless steel. But I don't put a lid on it. So I'm still letting it breathe. I'm still letting it sort of warm up with the room temperature. If you put a lid on it, I mean, it just stays whatever temperature you put it in at, which is great sometimes, but not. I want our viewers not viewers, listeners to get the, kind of how the beer is changing as we drink it. So I keep the lid off. But yeah, this is in a coffee mug Yeti.
Okay. Cool.
Jet
I
black.
was just curious because it was interesting because AleSmith actually has what kind of glass you're supposed to serve with. And the whole, for me, the whole point of the glass is to focus the nose, right? I mean, we've talked about that. It's all about focusing the nose, how the beer is going to come out of the glass. So I always go with a goblet. That's just my thing. Unless it's like an IPA or a Pilsner or something, then I'll go with a regular pint glass. So I'm one of those nerds. I'm one of those beer dicks. So.
Oh no, I mean, here's the thing is if we were out at a gastropub somewhere and they served this beer, I'd be offended if it wasn't in a goblet. I mean, it deserves that for sure. Yeah. I would want that served to me, with all of the notes in mind. When I'm here, I mean, and I feel like my palate is sophisticated enough. I can pick those things up anyway.
I would agree with that.
So I just don't go special, but I definitely I'm not knocking it. And sometimes even when I'm just here by myself, I'll pull out the goblet or I'll pull out, the flute because it's a high note. It's got a lot of high notes to it. So you want to accentuate those. So I'm with you on that. I just don't generally nerd out on the show.
No, that's cool. But you're also very consistent in how you handle that too. So that's the
other thing. Yep.
Hey, so let's go ahead and get into a little bit of weather.
Yes.
Because the end.
Singing my song.
California's. It's the end of the world, right? I mean, that's what we're we're told is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay. So there are some threads out there starting about an event called an ARC. So ARC standing for atmospheric river, and then the K is for 1,000. So basically take your general atmospheric river that we've seen in the past few years and multiply it times 1,000. Like, in other words, this thing just keeps coming and it doesn't stop, and it's dumping inches of rain per day. So you're talking about feet per week. And there is a potential for that to happen this year in California. And I'll be honest, it's happening here in Oregon. The river is hitting central to southern Oregon, northern California. It's not quite hitting the Central Valley yet, which is where the big threat is. So this ARK, this ARC event, and ARC for the floods, that whole thing.
Right.
But this ARC event, if it hits the Central Valley, what most people don't know, the reason the Central Valley is so fertile is because it used to be a lake. Up until about the 1800s, it was a giant lake. California had a huge lake in the middle of it, bordered by all the mountains. You got the Sierra Vistas, you got the coastal mountains, and it was a huge lake, fairly shallow. And in the late 1800s, the United States government decided, hey, we should drain all that water and make it fertile farmland.
Right.
Which they learned that lesson from the South. I mean, if you've done your history, the reason the South had cotton plantations was because it used to be a giant lake, and then it naturally drained at some point. And so when the settlers came here, they found such fertile land because it was a lake. They started to grow crops, and the big crop that was needed was cotton. And so you have the slave trade and the whole thing. So there's, been papers written on how ancient glaciers affected the slave trade, which it did. So fast forward, we're in California. They decide we need to drain this lake because it'll make room for more people, and we can farm it and feed, the whole western half of the United States, which was, after the Civil War, newly formed. Well, this is just nature trying to make that a lake again. This is how the lake is formed, is through these atmospheric rivers that happen. Remember, we're in an El Nino year. So El Nino years create a warmer winter, a warmer, wetter winter. And that's what she said. And we're in the middle of that. And every once in a while, we'll have these cold snaps where, like we had last week, where we'll get the ice storm and it's still, you have this wet flow coming in, but then it meets that Arctic air and everything just freezes. Well, the Arctic air is gone, and now this continuous, they call it the Pineapple Express because it literally comes down from Hawaii and just makes its way across the Pacific. And right now, I can't show it anywhere on the screen here, but if you go up to about 800 meters, which is where the jet stream starts, the lower end of the jet stream, there is a like constant 200 mile per hour wind just whipping up there, which is just sucking all of the moisture from the southern Pacific up into the Pacific Northwest and into the west coast of California.
Sucking.
And you guys down at, sucking. Yeah, drink again. You guys in Arizona are going to get a pretty good rainfall amount this week too, coming up. Now, there's a certain set of circumstances that have to happen before this ARC event happens. And earlier in the week, it was about a 50-50 when I sort of texted you guys and said, hey, heads up, the radar maps are showing this. It's about a 50-50 event. Right now, it's like a 30-70. 30% it's going to happen, 70% it's not, because most of the storm track is tracking north towards Oregon, Washington, Vancouver Island. So the difference is the land up here is used to that. So I sent you guys a picture on Tuesday night. Was that Tuesday night? Well, no, I sent it on Thursday.
But yeah, the picture was from Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah, but I emptied my rain gauge on Tuesday.
Right.
So Wednesday and Thursday, 48 hours basically, we had 3 inches of rain here. I emptied it, put it back empty, and I now have almost 4 inches in my rain gauge right now. So we have gotten 7 inches in the last 4.5 days, basically. So that kind of rainfall in California would be catastrophic. Here, I mean, it's just another January. So
yeah, it's not that big of a deal for you guys.
It's not.
North.
No. In fact, we went from a sort of concerning drought condition to we're back to normal levels now, and it's adding to the snowpack up in the Cascades, and so we even look good for summer. So it's very welcomed here. Now there is another system, and I'll have to look at the Northern American model, the NAM. Because that's generally the most accurate, although the European model sometimes will win, but usually the NAM is more accurate for the Pacific Northwest. There is another storm coming in, and you can see it. So that map that you're showing right there, you see down way in the lower left there, that dark blue that's just off the coast of Hawaii? That is predicted to possibly really just kind of be a bomb, like a atmospheric bomb. And if it does, it's going to suck in over to the left even more, way over to the corner of the screen. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Okay.
That one right there. If that keeps tracking south enough, not only is California going to get bombed by that, but so is Nevada and you guys in Phoenix. That one could track far enough south. But it's, we're out in fantasy land at that point. Like that's the 10-day. I mean, there's nothing for certain in the 10-day. Anything can happen to that. But that is an area of concern. And if that one hits on top of everything we've been getting this week and all throughout this following week, it could be dangerous. So that's why there's still that 30% chance that this could happen. And if it happens, of course, you're going to have the, it's climate change and blah, blah, blah. No, actually, this is a well-documented phenomenon that's been happening since we've been here. And the Native Americans have documented it, as far back as the 1500s. They talk about a great flood that happens every 12 to 50 years. It's in their stories, and they just know about it. They just know it's coming, and they know to evacuate the California Central Valley because you can't live there anymore. It just becomes this deep lake. So it's nothing new. It's not human caused. It's just what happens. And we're at that point now.
It's climate change, Fitz. You stop that. How dare you?
I am now stopping. My apologies. I'm not being sensitive enough. Anyway, that's my scientific lesson for the night. That's my weather geek moment of the night. But it
No,
really,
that's awesome.
it was looking like it was almost probable there for a little bit, and then everything kind of tracked north. There was a high pressure ridge off of Baja California, off the coast there, that kind of pushed everything a bit more north than conditions would have asked for the arc event. Although it still could happen. There's still potential. And remember, we're only in January. These arc events could happen up to and including late March. So we've still got some time. It could happen.
But the big rush this week was that California was going to get pummeled, and all hell was. It was going to be an absolutely devastating event. That was what the news, mainstream media, they're trying to take advantage of it, and then like clockwork, fucking everything changes, and suddenly it's heading up north. It's going to Washington. It's going to Oregon. It's going up the coast to Alaska and the Canadian coast. It's just absurd that we still have to do this stuff. It just absolutely, it's mind-numbingly stupid. Weather happens. It's not climate change. It's weather. This happens every year. You brought up the Pineapple Express. Do you find it interesting that Pineapple Express is no longer being used as the term for this?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we hear it up here, but they won't use that term anymore in California or even in Arizona. Because I remember hearing it when we lived when I lived in Arizona. You still live there. I remember hearing it then. We would have these El Nino years, and it's like, hey, we have a chance for the Pineapple Express. You guys don't hear that at all. It's been nixed from the news.
Yep.
We still hear it up here. But again, it's me kind of searching for those people who are in the know, and they know what they're looking at, and that's where we hear it. But yeah, it's that term's been kind of
memory hold.
It's been memory hold. It's been erased from our vernacular. Which is that's just weird. I know language changes. I know we've documented changes from what Old English was to what it is now. I get that. But that's because of the changing of culture and natural occurrences. People are actively trying to make you forget certain terms that were used just a short time ago. Language usually morphs over hundreds, thousands of years. We're changing language in 2 or 3 years now. It's a weird phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. Go to whiskeyhellpod.com. We have a weather tracker embedded in our site. You can actually go into it, manipulate the weather. Not the weather. You can manipulate the whole map. You can see the whole world. It's from windy.com. You guys should totally. That's a fantastic site. Fantastic site.
Yeah.
But we've got it embedded here, and it's our go-to as far as just seeing how things are coming.
And if you can go back to the Central Pacific up there, well, maybe Northern Pacific, Japan. Yeah. So you see, anytime you're looking at these maps, if you see and it's the initial map Windy puts up, when you see the blue areas, those are cooler, drier areas. When you see the more orange, green, orange, red, and pink, those are warmer, moister areas. That's what she said. Go ahead and drink. So when you're looking at this map right here,
it's also faster winds too.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what warm and moist air creates, is faster, more dynamic wind currents. So when I'm looking at this map right here, I'm looking and seeing these two systems coming in. The reason I talked about that other front, that blue one, is because that's a major dry low, cold low, and that sucks in all of that that moist air down into it, and it creates a pretty major. It's like a magnet. It's like, here, everything that's warm and wet, come to me. It's kind of like a Jefe storm.
And drink.
It's a Jefe storm for sure. If you're warm and wet, come find me. So that's why I was pointing out that blue, cold low. But there's so much. You can just see all the energy that's out there in the Pacific right now. It is active. And like I said, I've had over 6 inches, almost 7 inches in the past week. And we're due to have this system until late Tuesday, maybe even into Wednesday. And then there's another one behind that. So who knows what could happen? It's very dynamic. I love living up here. I love the weather. I love the changes of the seasons. I love just not knowing from day to day. It does get a little bit dreary when, it's been raining for 3 months straight, but take the good with the bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So when the media is panicking, I want you guys to go out. I want you guys to find Fitz. Let me see. What is it? At Fitz?
Fitz from Whiskey Help, or from WH Pod.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what my tag is. So it's Fitz, capital F, from capital F, WH Pod. And that's me on an X. And I tend to I see everything that we're posting as Whiskey Hell, but with my account, I tend to try and stick with the more scientific climate change stuff, the economy stuff with Peter St. Onge. I try, although I veer off of that sometimes, but that's mostly what's on my account. And I mean, there's some boobs on there. I'm not gonna lie, there's some boobs.
Well, boobs are important too.
Yeah, agreed. They make me smile and they bring down my heart rate. So, which is what I tell my doctor. And so, fuck off.
Where do you want to go next?
Can we? Well, we were kind of on before we took the break. We were kind of on just the election and politics. Can we do the Kari Lake story? Because I feel like
yes,
this didn't get a lot of national coverage. I mean, it did get some, but I feel like this could have national implications, and some people aren't aware of what's going on.
Let's try and play a few minutes of the tape just so you guys kind of get a gist of this tape that's out there. Yeah, it's a good 6 minutes. We'll play a couple minutes though.
Yeah.
No. Is there a number at which
I can be bought?
Not be bought.
That's what it's about.
You can take a pause for a couple of years.
No.
And then go right back to what you're doing.
No. 10 million, 20 million, 30, no. $1 billion, no. This is not about money. This is about our country. I think it's disturbing that they would that anybody would think this is.
No, to be fair, even me, I'll say this. I want a fresh face right now for the reason that I've never seen anyone, I can't think of a single person in a federal race who lost, ran in and won. I can't think of it. If you can think of it, let me know.
I am not going to let these people who hate our country tell me not to run. You should call them and tell them to get behind me. So what's going on? I'm assuming this is our friend.
This is back east. There are very powerful people who want to keep you out.
I know they do.
But they're willing to put their money where their mouth is in a big way. So, this conversation never happened.
This is crazy, though. They should want me. I'm a great candidate. People love me. These people are corrupt.
Well, maybe you're right.
They are right. They are corrupt.
Maybe. This never happened. Don't go. Do me a favor, though. I don't get myself in trouble. This, if you say no, which is fine, it's your choice. Don't tell people.
They're gonna try to have me murdered.
I wouldn't doubt that either. Today's world, man. If that stuff that came out last week is right about the cartel stuff, man. They say the cartel's operating in 50 states right now, like all 50. You know? So
what's going on? Who is it? What?
Forget the who. Let me just tell you the what. Let's just say there are people calling around saying, "Gosh, no, they can't repeat this. Never repeat this. If you say no, don't. If you say I got offered to buy out, don't use it, because then we lose our ability to get things done in the future."
Here's my problem. Rather than just say, let's work with her, she's a great candidate, because they don't own me, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't know it's about ownership.
It's about control.
I don't know it's about control. it's about being on the team. I guess that's, you know what I mean?
They want to be on the team.
They want you to be on their team.
But
Just team, you know?
But if they're pushing a globalist agenda, I can't do that. So what do they want? What do they want me to do?
You want me to stay out for 2 years. But, I'll tell you what I can offer you. But, I said, you can do whatever you want. It's talking head, this and that. So, the ask of me was, it's kind of funny. So the ask I got today from back east was, it has to stay between us. Is there any companies out there or something that could just put her on the payroll and give her, to keep her out? And I said, well, what are you willing to do? Like, whatever we need to do.
This is about defeating Trump. And I think that's a bad, bad thing for our country. DeSantis is not America first. This is about the final death blow to Trump. And I don't think that's good for our country.
And you know I love Trump. I love Trump.
It's not good for our country, Jeff.
It's not, but at the same time, I'm not even sure Trump can win again. I don't know that he can win again. I think what it really comes down to for a lot of people, it's not really about like control or agenda. It's just about the ability to raise money to win. You know, if you really want to know, all of politics boils down to money. I think. I always believe that. And even on their end, like what makes them the most money?
I know. All these consultants don't want their payday to end.
So we'll leave it off right there, but I think you guys get the gist of what's going on. This is Kari Lake, who is actually talking to the Arizona Republican Party chair, Jeff DeWitt. This is an alleged secret recording of him trying to bribe her to not run for the Senate. Fitz, this is the most awkward thing that happened all week, and I still don't know what to do with this.
I agree. I'm not sure what to do with it because my bullshit-o-meter goes off and it's like, okay, A, who was recording this? B, why were they recording it? And C, why was it released? Now, you can go down one path where it's like Kari Lake was recording it, or one of her staffers.
Yep.
For the sole reason of CYA. Why am I having this meeting with this fucking predator, with this fucking crazy guy? And then C, we're going to release it because we need you guys to know that I almost got fucking bamboozled or bought off to not run. That's certainly one scenario. That's one narrative that you could believe. And I sort of lean that way. I kind of want to believe that. But if you see where I'm going with this, you could also insert many different parties into any one of those categories. Who recorded it? Maybe DeWitt recorded it. Why did he record it? Well, because he wanted to try and frame Kari Lake on some bullshit. And then why was it released? Well, because, DeWitt's handlers thought he was ready to get out and he looked like an ass in the recording, so he's out. I mean, you can mind fuck yourself on going down any one of these scenarios, why it was done, who did it, and all that bullshit. And so I'm still in the camp where I'm a little bit suspect, a little bit suspicious as to why this was even done. If you want to tell me that Kari Lake is that savvy, that she's that smart of a politician, that she's like, hey, I'm going to this meeting with this fuckhole, I better bring a secret recording. I want to believe that, because Kari Lake, I've had a crush on you since we met. I met Kari Lake. I did a whole thing at the state capitol a long time ago, and I was interviewed. If you all are savvy enough, you could probably find it. It's out there on the interwebs. But I was interviewed by her. She's a beautiful woman. She's very engaging. She asks wonderful questions. She actually gives a shit. Like, at that time, do you know what she was interviewing me about? Was the after school initiative at the state capitol for after school kids. So, like, she gives a shit about the little guy, the families, the people who are struggling to make it every day, and the care for their kids and the taxes they're paying. And so now she's this bigger thing. And I want to still believe that that's the Kari Lake that I met and fell in love with, and that she's still that lady. But there's a part of me that still doubts, like, why was this released? Who's trying to gain from this? Who's gaining clout or momentum or money from this being released? And so I rest on the fact that, I don't know. I still don't know, and I have a weary eye towards it. I don't know. What's your take?
It was extremely strange to me. It sounded staged right off the bat. I was in the camp of this. This was staged. God damn it. Wherever the mic was, holy fuck, whoever is eating at the time.
Yeah, right.
It was fucking terrible.
That's the other thing. Yeah. Which kind of lends to its legitimacy.
Oh, well, you would think that. I totally get that angle. I think one of the things that bothers me the most about this is that it was a hit job, because he turned around and he quit right afterwards, and the Arizona GOP is turning into an absolute shit show. So they're trying to figure out who's going to lead the GOP here, and there were meetings today, and it was just I think there's one person who's having charges pressed against her because she tried to get in a fist fight. It was just an absolute mess. Yeah, it's a fucking shit show. But the thing that is happening here for me is that you've got Kari Lake, who's running for Senate. She's praising the Donald, and she's coming out and saying it very scripted, like she knew this conversation was coming.
Yeah.
And she was ready for it. Whereas DeWitt wasn't. He sounded like the worst bag man ever.
Yep.
Hey, so the guys back east, they want to pay you to lay down and not do anything for the next 2 years. Are you game?
And these are some very powerful people. Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes on, and the stuff that we didn't play actually talks into, somebody being murdered, right? That was next.
Yeah. And I mean, doesn't he seems like the kind of guy that, again, we talked about it earlier in the show, like he was raised in privilege. And so now he finds himself in this place where he's the middleman, talking from the people with money who want to buy off somebody who can't be bought.
Mm-hmm.
And he has no fucking idea what he's doing. Like, I feel like a movie needs to be made about this fucking douchebag. Like, this idiot got caught in the middle of this whole, political wind-up with some very powerful people. And he's like, the people back east. Dude, shut the fuck up. That's not how people talk. Just say who it is.
Perfectly scripted, though, for somebody who was going to go out there and stand. I stand for the people. I can't be bought. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
I mean, that's what came to my mind. Like, really? Okay, cool. I mean, all right. Yeah, very very strange. So Kari Lake is a fascinating study. She really really is, and
yeah.
I don't know if she's this. But you have way more history with her than I, so you have a different insight than I do. Me, I just look at her and I'm like, you strike me as being a little crazy. You are so MAGA that it's like, wow, like your tongue is so far up Trump's ass that it's a little awkward. I mean, there's rimming and there's rimming. So I can't get past that. So I have a bias there.
And I'm not saying I don't. I mean, I actually
that's
agree
okay
with you on that. No, I totally agree with you on that. I think she had to pick a path, and that's the path she chose. And I mean, she was looking at which horse was going to win this race. I don't blame her for it. I'm just saying, when I met her, and I'm talking
right.
Shit, I'm probably talking 20 years ago, dude. Yeah, 18, 20 years ago. She was an up-and-coming journalist, poli-sci background with a journalist degree. And so that's what she was interested in. She was trying to break in. So she was doing these small-time, grassroots kind of stories. And so she was relatable. She was awesome. And at that time, I mean, we're talking, she was 20 years younger. She she wasn't just pretty. She was like engaging. Like everybody wanted to do an interview with her, and she picked me because I was at the time being I know it's going to surprise everybody, but
You're being an OG.
Well, no, I was being fiery. I was saying like, hey, but what about the fucking kids? Like, and so she was like, hey, can we interview? But otherwise, I mean, I don't have any allegiance to her or anything like that. It's just
no. I didn't even imply that.
No. What I'm saying is, all I was saying is that as a person, I feel like she has the skills to be a pretty effective politician. And that's not a compliment. That's just saying she can be engaging. She can get you to say the things that maybe you wouldn't say to anyone else.
Could be.
And then here's this audio tape where she's being kind of an uncompromising person, which uncompromising people, we all saw Braveheart, right? Uncompromising people are easy to respect and to follow. And that's the stand she's taking. And I'm not saying it's a bad strategy. I'm just saying it's a strategy, and we all need to realize it.
That is, I think you just nailed it. It is a strategy. I don't know. I can't sit here and say I believe it, but it is definitely a strategy. I can
for sure.
Yes, you nailed that.
And that's why the whole thing felt staged. It was like, hey, we need to promote Kari as this, staunch, we're going to take a stand right here, right now kind of person. And so they set her up, and she fucking nailed it. She hit the softball out of the park. That's what it felt like, for sure.
So I definitely think everybody should go over and look at what's going on in Whiskey Hell Insiders chat right now.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because... oh my gosh. And Joe, I know you're not in the chat. If you want me to send you another invite, let me know. It's on Signal. But he's dealing roulette and he looks absolutely pissed. Like he's like I would envision that he's probably a little ticked off. I love it. That's gonna go over well. Way to go, Buttercup. All right, Joe. I'll get you the invite so you can get in there and take a look. It's a fun chat. It's a very, very fun chat. So for everybody out there who is wondering how you get in there, just go to our Patreon, join the Patreon, and you'll get an automatic add to the chat. It's fun. These guys are crazy. Aaron just said it's this new lock screen.
So good.
Just Jefe pissed off. Pissed off.
And
by the way,
I just want to mention Elle and Buttercup. Earlier, I requested, pictures of your boobs, or it didn't happen.
Oh,
I appreciate the picture. Thank you. It did happen, and your breasts are well respected. Of course, Buttercup, yours have always been respected. Elle, I'm a new admirer, and thank you.
Oh, Russia has declared Alaska was never sold. Putin stokes in tensions with U.S., declares 1867 sale of Alaska illegal. That should have been on the bingo card. So we totally missed that.
I mean, I seriously didn't see that coming, and I feel like preemptively, what we need to do is add the Louisiana Purchase was not legal from the French. Like that needs to be the next one that's coming. I mean, what a brilliant move by Putin.
Oh, it totally is. It totally is.
You fucking bitches have most of our land that we claimed up until we sold it for like 2 cents an acre. And we want it back. It was illegal. It was an illegal sale. But if that happens, I mean, if that were to be recognized in international court, can you imagine the claim that the Navajo, the Hopi, the Hohokam, the Iroquois, all of the American tribes would have on their lands here in the U.S.? I mean, it would be a fucking travesty because we never even fucking paid them. We just kicked them off of it. Which I mean, as a white person in this country, I have to stand behind the fact that that was wrong. I know I'm living on lands, and I have a house on lands that was occupied by natives, and I took advantage of that. And I mean, I didn't know I was, but I did. And still, it was wrong. And I mean, if anyone is owed reparations, it's them. But yeah, if for Putin to be like, "Hey, Alaska's actually ours,"
fuck you. It never happened. $7.2 million. Nah,
that's brilliant.
I didn't okay it in 1867. I know it's been 150 years, but no, I'm saying no. Give us back Alaska, you bitch.
Hey, my great-great-grandfather was alive, and he said no.
All right.
God.
I'm going to give you a president, okay?
All right.
If Putin did that to Obama, what would he say?
He would semantically put it down. He would say how ridiculous it is, how absurd it is. I mean, remember, Obama was a lawyer by trade, so he would probably cite law and say that he was I'm welcome. Hold on, let me do my Obama impersonation. I would be welcome to have this go up on the international courts with NATO or the UN. Please, I welcome a legal challenge to the sale of Alaska. That's what he would do. He would keep it above board and then turn around and bomb Iran. And then the whole world would be like, oh my God, we're at war with Iran. And no one would care about Russia anymore.
All right. What would happen if Trump was the one who received that letter?
Putin's a friend. Okay. He's a good friend. We're going to have a weekend down at Mar-a-Lago. Okay. And by the way, this is President Trump. Like, your president, the president of the United States, the best president possibly ever. And we're going to have a weekend down at Mar-a-Lago. We're going to sort it all out. Don't you worry about it. Also, we're going to give them gas rights because they deserve it. And Americans' gas prices are going to go down. Don't worry about it. We have
Don't worry about it. George W. Bush.
I mean, the thing is, we're going to have to use nuclear weapons in most of Russia and annihilate everything but Moscow to send a message.
Just to send a message, yeah.
This tyrant who wants to claim American lands, and we can't have that anymore. And by the way, Halliburton and all of my stock holdings are going to rebuild Russia in the image that we want it to be rebuilt. My presidential impersonations are so bad. Why did you do this to me?
No, it's not the impersonation. It's the verbiage coming from each of those presidents. It's on point. That was the whole point of it.
The message. Yeah.
Nobody would have done. He never would have done this to another president. Can you imagine Reagan? No. And that would have been it. It would have been it.
Putin, do not take Alaska. Jesus.
He might tell him. He might tell him to try.
Yeah, right. He would dare him.
It's surreal to me that this is coming up, but the only reason it is coming up is because we've got a president who's weak, and he's a punching bag for the world. It sucks. Well, it's just that's the way it is right now, and it's just fucking terrible.
My wife, who, God bless her, she keeps up on world politics only because I'm in her life. Like before she met me, she didn't give a shit, and I mean it was fine. She lived a very happy life without knowing. But because I do this show and I'm up on things, she was, asking me about Trump and why people are so behind him. And I said, well, because despite his personality flaws, which are many, and we can all make fun of them, and I enjoy making fun of them because he's a douchebag as a person, but his policies actually made sense. He wanted to seal off the southern border so that we wouldn't have this influx of immigrants. He was tough on North Korea. Remember Kim Jong-il was popping off saying, hey, we're going to fire nukes at Japan, and then you're next, America. And he was like, the fuck you are. And he parked like 17 nuclear subs off of his coast. He made friends with Putin. He was hard with Israel, saying, "Hey, your borders are your borders. Fucking honor them. Don't do anything that's going to be stupid." I mean, you can go down the list of all the problems we have right now, even on the economy. We're going to stop spending and sending our money to other countries, specifically China. We're going to keep manufacturing and jobs here in this country. I mean, point by point, he was right. As much of a fucking moron and a douchebag and unlikable as he is as an individual, his policies were correct. And so here we are now. People are trying to make it about his personality and who he is as a person versus what the policies are that he wants to bring in. And I am now at the point where I'm ready to look at policies, period. Whoever it is that's expounding those policies, I don't actually care. I don't care if you're black, white, gay, trans, a misogynist, a fucking feminist. I don't care. Are you going to do what's right for me and my family? Then I'll vote for you.
Are you going to protect the country?
Yeah. Are you going to protect this thing that is we've been raised to believe is this precious special thing of democracy, this bastion of democracy, this thing to be upheld on a pedestal. And yet we're treating it like it's wrong, it's bad. Everything that you've done or will do to protect it is bad. I'm sorry. I'm an American first. I want to protect this country. And so I'm not saying I'm voting for Trump. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm looking at policies first, not the person. Policies versus personalities. I'm a policy person.
I'm almost tempted to end the show there. That was a really good closing.
And
there's other stuff we can get into, but I mean, that was a fantastic. I don't know that there's anything better that we can do after that. That was the perfect ending.
Well,
what beer are you taking to bed?
Too.
What beer are you taking to bed?
Oh God. Okay.
This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough. It seems like the past 3 or 4 weeks I've had a tough pick. What's a tuffle? I don't know.
It's like a tussle and a tussle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Speedway Stout. Much more in my wheelhouse. I really enjoyed the Mugless, the Belgian. Fantastic beer, really well done. And I was actually in the mood for that. It was a great first beer, but this Speedway Stout is just bringing in the dark meat, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
and I kind of wanted to finish with that dark, give me the sweet black moistness of what you have to offer, and that's
moistness.
Yeah, and that's what I got from this one. So, I also like the. And I'm not saying I did this on purpose, but I like the Italian tie-in because I know you and your wife's family are heavy into the Italian influence, and I've always respected that and loved that about your family. And even the times I've gotten to partake in it, it's been like a highlight of Christmas or whatever when we got to do the meat plates and stuff. So anyway, this was just kind of an homage to the Italians who fucking know food, they know flavors, and Speedway, AleSmith really did it well with this Speedway Stout. So I'm taking the Speedway to bed. A little bit of coffee, a little bit of vanilla, and a whole lot of goodness here. So how about you?
I've actually really digging the Cocoa Nitro. Both beers were fantastic, but the Cocoa Nitro, I actually slowed down this beer because it was so good. And it warmed up nice. Once it got circulating in the air, it really a lot more came out. This was by far the most pleasurable beer that I've had in several weeks, probably.
Nice.
I was really, really happy with this. In fact, I would call this a nipple sucking beer.
Oh shit! What does that mean? Hold on. What does that mean in the chat when McShane goes sexual? What does that mean? Is that
Nothing.
double shots? No, it's
should
double
be.
shots.
It should be unicorn type shit, but they didn't latch on to that because I never go sexual with my beers. But
Well,
that's okay.
fucking next week, guess what's happening? That's a criteria.
We're gonna put the drinking game up online too. Grays are handling printing it out, so throw that over to me, and I'll make sure that gets up online. So
yeah,
we gotta do.
By the way, once again, thank you to the chat. I have gotten several feeds back. I don't know. Lots of people have given me feedback. That the chat, that we have the chat open during the show, has added so much to the broadcast. That it's not just you and me, that we get some outside influence, and that someone's like, hey, but what about this? And then someone in the chat will say it, and then you and I will bring it up because we saw it in the chat. And so anyway, thank you so much for all of you who, I know not all of you are here every week, but there is a consistent 5 or 6 people here every week. And it adds so much to the show, and I can't thank you enough. For me personally, it's made me want to be a bit sharper of a host. Lay off on the really heavy shit before I start the show, because then I can't hang with you all. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for adding to the show, because you do every week, and I've gotten appreciation about that from other people. So thank you.
No, I totally agree. I love it. This is how we want to do 2024. This is us. I think this is a good. I'm gonna call it coming out party. That's not the point of it, but it's just this is what we want to be doing. We're coming up to number 150, show 150 in 2 weeks, so we need to come up with something for that. But in the meantime, we just appreciate you guys being here. So thank you very much. A lot of shows don't make it this far. A lot of shows don't have this kind of patronage. A lot of this does not have this kind of fun. And the discussion online in between weeks is fantastic.
Yes. Oh my God.
So
yes. That also makes the show.
It's a lot of fun, and we appreciate you guys. Joe, thank you for making it in chat. I know I didn't mention it earlier, but appreciate you, man, for making it this week. We need to come up with a beer for Joe. We didn't do that last week. He wasn't in chat, but we need to come up with a beer for Joe. When we make the Whiskey Hell beers, we need to come up with something for Joe. Let's do that real quick. Yeah. We don't have an IPA on the platform yet. Everything was like stouts and porters and Belgians, and like I feel like a hazy IPA.
Okay.
I
like that.
It's sweet, but I feel like it's going to be bitter, and it's going to punch you in the mouth for Joe.
Yeah, and it's cloudy enough that you're not really sure what it's thinking until it's inside of you.
Yeah. Yes, and it's bold.
Right.
Right.
It's bold talk. It's bold talk by Joe.
Yes.
But only once it's inside of you, and then you're like, "Well, it's too late. I might as well accept it."
I'm just gonna have to drink this.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's our first IPA, and you know what? I'm gonna even say it might even be like a double or a triple IPA, like an Imperial IPA.
Yes.
Right.
No, it's gonna be boozy as fuck.
It's
gonna be a plus 10. It's gonna be a plus 10.
Yeah. You're gonna know that it was inside of you last night.
It's going to be an IPA night under, and then there's not very many of those. Nobody wants to admit it. There's not a lot of IPAs that want to end the night.
No, how about we call it a nightcap? It's a nightcap IPA.
Nightcap? Okay. All right.
God damn it. When are we starting this brewery? Yes,
it's Joe's nightcap.
Done. We have got to start this fucking brewery, dude. We have to. Whiskey Hell Nation is primed and ready to absolutely explode, and we need to make this happen.
Yep. I am Steve McShane. Thank you for listening.
I'm Fitz. Love every single one of you. Thank you for putting up with us, but also expanding your own minds. What a trip. Thanks for being here.
And making us better, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Think critically.
Act accordingly.
We'll talk to you soon.